Troops from India and Pakistan have fired small arms along Kashmir's line of control as tensions grow following a deadly militant attack on tourists in the Indian-administered section of the contested region.
카슈미르의 실질 통제선을 따라 인도와 파키스탄 간 소규모 교전이 발생했습니다. 이는 분쟁 지역인 카슈미르 내 인도 통치구역에서 관광객을 상대로 한 총기 테러로 사망자가 나오는 등 긴장이 고조되던 가운데 벌어진 일입니다. Tell us more.
Well, this is a hot spot for tension between India and Pakistan because, they both claim Kashmir as theirs. And it was split between them when they got independence in 1947. However, they both claim that it belongs to them. And so this line of control has always been somewhere where people watch very closely what might happen. So here we had Pakistani troops supposedly fired unprovoked, according to India.
Okay.
However, Islamabad is saying that it's not their fault. They're rejecting any sense of cross-border terrorism. The issue is that there was that deadly attack on the tourists that killed 26 people. So tensions are very, very high because it was one of the worst terrorist attacks on civilians in years in that region. And we'll see what will happen in the future. But certainly tensions are up between Pakistan and India.
그렇습니다. 자, 여기서 근데 they fired small arms. 뭘 발사했다는 건가요?
Yeah, so here, don't get confused. Small children have small arms, but they don't have this kind of small arms. Here, the small arms we're talking about are weapons. And these are literally small. So guns, pistols, rifles, not tanks, not missiles, but the smaller weapons.
그러니까 여기서 ARMS, arms라는 것은요, 무기라는 의미를 가지고 있습니다. 팔이 아니고요. 스펠링은 팔이랑 똑같지만 armor랑 같은 어원을 가지고 있는 무기. 구체적으로는 이제 화기가 되겠죠. 작은 거니까 소총이나 권총 이런 것들을 얘기하고 있습니다. Small arms. 그 다음에 이제 contested라는 표현을 보고 싶은데 if something is contested, a region, for example, what does that mean?
People are arguing over it. There is a dispute about it. If it's a region, like in this case, it's who it belongs to. It could be an election as to who was the winner. We can contest anything where there could have been a different result, where there are two sides fighting in some way.
그래요. 어떤 지역이 분쟁거리가 된다 이런 의미가 있어서 분쟁 지역을 영어로 contested region이라고 합니다. 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Troops from India and Pakistan have fired small arms along Kashmir's line of control as tensions grow following a deadly militant attack on tourists in the Indian-administered section of the contested region. Let's move on to the next headline.
A growing reluctance to be listed in the Michelin Guide is emerging in some European restaurants, with a number of establishments voluntarily returning their stars.
일부 유럽 식당들 사이에서 미쉐린 가이드에 등재되는 것을 꺼리는 분위기가 확산되면서 이곳에서 받은 별점을 자발적으로 반납하는 식당이 늘고 있다는 소식입니다. Ooh, okay. So not everyone wants to have a Michelin star.
No, they don't. And for those chefs who are refusing their stars or asking for stars to be removed, it seems to be all about diners expecting fussy food or it being a formal atmosphere, not wanting to be labelled as a particular style of restaurant, just wanting to be their own.
Yeah.
So, for example, we had Giglio, an Italian restaurant in Lucca, asked for its star to be removed. Last year in France, there was one chef who ran a restaurant at a ski resort in Megève who banned Michelin inspectors, said they could not come into his restaurant.
Right.
Though the chef has had dealings with the guide before. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure. If you get a star, there's a lot of pressure to keep your star and to get another one. And there's been criticism over the years about Michelin and about the way that it gives out stars.
Yeah.
Also, there's been suspicions about AI being used to write some of its online content.
Yeah,
yes. So Michelin has always had an interesting relationship with chefs, but it seems at the moment there are quite a few who are rebelling and saying, we just want to be what we are. We don't need a star.
네. 우리말로 아까 헤드라인 말할 때 이런 미슐린 스타를 좀 꺼리는 분위기다라고 했잖아요. 그런 꺼림을 영어로 reluctance라고 하는군요.
I don't know if I really want to explain this to you, Sue.
Are you reluctant to explain?
Well, can you sense my reluctance?
I can.
Yeah, I just don't like this word, and so I'm not going to explain it to you. I refuse.
설명하기를 지금 꺼린다고 선생님 말씀하시네요.
Yeah, because if there is a reluctance, it means we are unwilling or we do not want to do or to be somewhere. Whatever it is, we don't want a part of it. It doesn't mean that we won't do it, but we don't want to do it.
그래요. reluctance가 명사형이고 그다음에 I am reluctant 이렇게
Yeah.
문장 속에서 쓸 수 있습니다. Now, when we're talking about these 식당들, 가게들, we can use the term establishment.
Yes. So here, the establishments is a synonym for restaurants, bistros, bars, cafes, whichever they are that get a star. Establishments is the very general term, just meaning a business.
Yeah.
So when you can't categorize everything into one particular slot, because not all of them will be, in quotation marks, restaurants.
That's right.
There'll be bistros or other styles of eateries. We can use this term. So the establishments in the town centre have all agreed to offer free parking for visitors. The one interesting thing is when we use it as the singular, the establishment, that's a way of talking about the government or whoever is in power.
아하. 자, establishment라는 단어가 이렇게 영업소라는 의미를 가지고 있는데 보통은 맥락에 따라서 이게 식당이 될 수도 있고 옷 가게가 될 수도 있고 그 이제 맥락에 맞게 어떤 가게들을 얘기하느냐에 따라서 의미가 조금 변할 수 있어요. 근데 여기서는 미슐린 스타 얘기 나왔고 그다음에 뭐 레스토랑이라는 단어도 나왔죠. 그러니까 당연히 에스타블리시먼트도 식당들이라는 의미로 해석을 하면 되겠는데 레스토랑은 좀 고급스러운 느낌이 있어서 모든 식당이 다 고급 식당은 아니잖아요.
Yeah.
그렇죠? 구멍가게도 있고 뭐 다 굉장히 다양하죠.
Exactly. In France, you have restaurants, but you also have bistros,
Yeah.
which are a more casual place. In
Yeah,
the UK, we have gastropubs, which are not officially restaurants; they're pubs. So yes, establishments is a good term to use here.
맞아요. 그래서 establishment 써도 되고 아니면 좀 더 쉬운 말로 아까 폴 선생님이 쓰셨는데 캐치하신 분들도 계실 거예요. 눈치 빠르신 분들. eatery라는 단어가 있어요.
네.
E-A-T-E-R-Y
Yes,
eatery.
and the plural is IES.
eateries 이렇게 쓸 수도 있는데 이것도 역시 그냥 식당이라고 우리말로는 그냥 해석하면 돼요. 근데 레스토랑보다는 좀 더 캐주얼하고 광범위한 느낌입니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A growing reluctance to be listed in the Michelin Guide is emerging in some European restaurants, with a number of establishments voluntarily returning their stars. Okay, let's move on to the final headline.
A letter written by a Titanic passenger days before the ship sank has been sold at auction to an anonymous buyer for a record-breaking 300,000 British pounds.
타이타닉호가 침몰하기 며칠 전에 한 승객이 쓴 편지가 경매에서 익명의 구매자에게 30만 파운드, 우리 돈으로 약 5억 7천만 원이라는 기록적인 가격에 낙찰됐습니다. Wow. Tell us more.
So the sum is a big amount. It's 5 times higher than they thought it would get, that it would fetch. They were hoping for £60,000, went for 300,000, but that's not the most interesting thing about it.
It's the letter itself.
The letter itself, Colonel Archibald Gracie wrote this letter on the 10th of April 1912. That was the day he got on the Titanic in Southampton, 5 days before it hit the iceberg and sank. The thing is, did he know what was going to happen? Because in the letter he says, I will await my journey's end before passing judgment on the fine ship. And then the fine ship, well, met a different kind of end.
No.
It's almost like he had prophesized that something bad was going to happen. Of course, he didn't really, but it's really curious, that choice of words, now that we look back, in hindsight, they seem, well, eerily appropriate.
이 훌륭한 선박에 대한 평가를 내리기 전에 내 여정의 끝을 기다리겠다. 뭐 이렇게 번역을 할 수 있을 것 같은데 I will await my journey's end before passing judgment on the fine ship. 이렇게 쓴 편지였어요. 근데 물론 이게 어떻게 끝날지 당연히 몰랐겠지만서도 이런 뭐 내 여정의 끝 이런 표현이 들어갔다는 게 참 예견을 했나 뭐 이런 뭐 지금에 와서야 우리가 하는 얘기입니다만 그 편지가 이렇게 큰 돈에 낙찰이 됐다는 소식입니다. 낙찰이 되다, 경매에서 팔리다. You could just say it sold at auction or
Yes.
it was sold at auction.
Yeah.
And
Or it
that's
was
the expression.
auctioned.
It was auctioned, yeah.
Or it was auctioned off.
Or it went under the hammer. And that's actually the auctioning process
No,
itself, right?
yes, but
Yeah.
but you say it went under the hammer and fetched however much money.
Fetched,
So
yes.
as long as you qualify it with an amount of money, you can use that as well. And it all means that there was someone standing at the front of a room saying, "How much will you pay for this?" And lots of different people were saying, "I will pay this much." "No, I will pay more." "I will pay more." And the highest bidder won the auction.
네, 그렇습니다. 사실 비동사 빼고 써도 돼요. 그래서 this letter sold at auction이라고 해도 얼마에 낙찰됐다. 이런 의미인데 이제 비동사가 지금 들어가 있습니다. 뭐 이렇게도 쓸 수 있어요. 그 다음에는 또 다른 표현 조금 전에 언급한 it fetched 얼마.
네.
근데 이제 fetch라는 것은 얼마에 팔렸다라는 의미만 가지고 있기 때문에 경매라는 걸 살리기 위해서 앞에다가 it went under the hammer and fetched 얼마 하면 되겠습니다. Who bought it?
An anonymous buyer, which means we don't actually know who. Because if you're anonymous, nobody knows who you are.
That's right.
You are either just a mystery or you've chosen not to reveal your identity. You know, I sometimes you go online, you see anonymous messages from people and
Sure.
you probably just want to ignore them because if you don't know their name, well, you don't know them.
익명 anonymous and 익명 구매자 anonymous buyer가 되겠습니다. I remember when I was younger, I loved reading poetry and I thought, who is this poet called Anon? It's really good. He or she, I don't know their gender, but they've written so many great poems.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I really like to learn more about Anon. And then I learnt, actually, it's not
No,
a person.
it's anonymous. I once met a lovely rat who refused to tell me his name. He was anonymous.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, aside from the pun, just be careful with anon, that
Yeah.
abbreviation, because in Old English, in Shakespearean times, anon without the full stop at the end meant soon. I will see you anon. It doesn't mean I will see you anonymous. It means I will see you
Right.
soon.
오호, 그렇게 또 anon이라는 단어가 셰익스피어 시대에는 다른 의미를 가지고 있었군요. 곧이라는 의미. 근데 이제 시 보면 우리가 작자 미상. 영어로는 ANON 하고 이제 점을 찍어야겠죠?
네.
예, 이게 줄인 거니까. 그렇게도 씁니다. 익명이다 이런 의미죠. 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. A letter written by a Titanic passenger days before the ship sank has been sold at auction to an anonymous buyer for a record-breaking 300,000 British pounds. Well, that's it for the headlines with Paul Matthews.